Charles Leclerc and Ferrari are going through a rough patch, and despite the dedication that he has to the Maranello-based squad, certain talks have been held regarding a potential move in 2027. The new regulations are going to play a pivotal role in whether Leclerc will see Ferrari as his next home. But if a shocking move is on the horizon, which team would he find best for his talent? And more importantly, has Leclerc made a brutal realization that he cannot win anything with the current structure of the Maranello-based squad? Regardless of the regulations and the new technical era, the marriage between Charles Leclerc and Ferrari could face some difficulties in the following period. The tough drives that we have had to witness from the Monegasque driver, primarily because of the team's strategy and the car's behavior, have led to Charles reportedly talking to other teams about a seat in 2027. Of course, this doesn't mean that Leclerc is ready to leave Ferrari just like that. This is a team that he has spent a lot of time with, and a team that ultimately brought him to where he is right now. However, the Italian squad keeps failing to reach its full potential, and that is truly a frustrating thing to go through as an F1 driver of Charles's caliber. To say that he's wasting his prime at Ferrari might be a bit controversial, and definitely not fully true, but at the end of the day, the Maranello-based team keeps making questionable decisions that are making Leclerc question their integrity. With the arrival of Hamilton, many expected that Ferrari would be the leading force in 2025, especially after a huge change in the concept of the car. But they're now barely fighting for P2 in the Constructors' Championship with Mercedes. Now that all focus has shifted onto 2026, Charles could already be thinking one step ahead about 2027. And according to a report from Italian media close to the team, McLaren, Aston Martin and Mercedes are the top candidates for Leclerc. Now, this is a pure analysis of why each team would make sense for Leclerc to consider if he were to leave Ferrari. These are reports from valid media outlets that are close to Ferrari, and we're analyzing the entire situation from a neutral point of view. So let's start with McLaren, the team that's currently on top of the sport and a team that's looking to continue this domination in the newly regulated era. McLaren has a very strong lineup of Piastri and Norris, and to say that one of them would leave on pure merit is a bit of a far-fetched scenario. However, if you think about the fact that they are very close in the championship fight and that they could continue with this tempo in 2026 as well, then there is a possibility that we could see a Rosberg type of move. The German champion decided to retire after finally beating Hamilton in 2016, and although that's highly unlikely to happen to Norris or Piastri, if one of them loses the championship twice in a row to their teammate, they could be forced to make a move to another team and challenge from a different environment. During the Monza GP, there was reportedly a meeting between Nicolas Tot, Leclerc's manager, and two key figures from McLaren, Zak Brown and Andrea Stella. The reported goal of Nicolas was to understand the contract situation of Norris and Piastri and whether there was a possibility for a short-term deal if one is going to be needed in the foreseeable future. Again, it's a bit far-fetched to say that either Piastri or Norris will swap seats with Leclerc in a bid to beat each other and rebuild a different team, but the dynamics at McLaren have been rather questionable in the past couple of months. At this point, I wouldn't even be surprised if one of the drivers publicly calls out the team for interfering too much in their battles, and that alone could be enough of a reason for them to change their environment. Yes, the Woking-based squad will be powered by Mercedes, and that gives them a very good chance of remaining at the top from 2026 onwards. But then again, Ferrari is expected to be close as well. This makes you question whether now is the perfect time for Charles to make a move. And that's why the talks that Charles has reportedly been holding with representatives from other teams would only apply from 2027 onwards. In the first year of the new regulations, he will analyze the entire situation at Ferrari and judge for himself whether this team truly has what it takes to be on top. The engine will play a huge role, but it's far from being the sole factor in winning a driver's championship. You also need strong aerodynamics, bulletproof strategy, and perfect on-track setup. The latter two have never been Ferrari's strongest points. And while they've improved in the pit lane, it's not like the strategies have dramatically improved. That's probably why Leclerc wants to expand his options. This gained momentum after his violent Singapore crash in 2023. His recent rally test has only fueled speculation about a career change. The Aston Martin project is massive, and expectations are that they will be fighting at the very front from 2026 onwards. but the difference between them and the top teams will depend heavily on the drivers. Right now, Aston Martin cannot confidently say they have two drivers capable of consistently scoring points. The qualifying gap between Lance and Alonso is one of the biggest on the grid, and Stroll often relies on crashes or retirements ahead of him to score.